behind me here, we've got the Jeep outside for the first time. We're very, very excited about this. We're going to try and test fire this thing here and see what it sounds like. And the team has been working night and day on this deal, and we're just very, very excited. So sit back and let's fire this bad boy up and see if we can hear this thing run.
Alright guys, this is a very, very huge moment right here to finally get to roll something outside and start it up. But there's also several things that you got to check over in doing this. And I'm going to get into that here in just in a minute, how we prepped the motor and prepped everything up just to make sure everything would fire up correctly. But you know, right here all I'm doing is just kind of going from cylinder to cylinder with a temp gun, making sure everything's firing on all 8, that sort of thing. And we just wanted to fire this thing up, make sure we didn't have any major mechanical problems, and where we're in such a very, very extreme rush and trying to get as much done as quickly as possible, we just wasn't able to run this thing long, and we definitely have got a lot of tuning left to do on this thing. So definitely thank you guys so much for watching for this build here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show some updates of this build, and then after we show some updates of the build, I'm going to have a lot of footage kind of come at you guys here in this episode so you guys can kind of see what all has been happening. Okay guys, so what I wanted to do was show you guys how I primed the oil and what all fluids I put in the engine before we fired it up. We used a priming jug. It's just a pump up jug like you use for weed killer, and you can actually prime the oil with these LS motors that way. The LS motors don't have a distributor, so you can't do it like how you would in a Gen 1 style small block. So these things are a little bit different. You either have to turn the motor over or you have to use it with a priming jug, and I do a little bit of both. And what I do is I use that jug first to get all the air out and try to get as much oil in the motor as possible. And I just basically fill the motor up with oil, and then with the fuel off, ignition off, and the spark plugs out of it, I'll turn the motor over. And when I turn it over, you can see on the Holley dash here, we can see some pressure starting to come up there, and that's a good sign. So we know we're starting to get some pressure. But the last step that I do is, with the valve cover still off, I keep turning the motor over and making sure that we still have oil coming out of the rocker arms. This is very important. You just want to double check and triple check that you have oil coming out of every single rocker so that you know that the motor is completely primed. And that's how I prime the motor. So yeah. Alrighty guys, we also want to make sure we get transmission fluid in the torque converter before we put the converter in. And we also want to make sure we've got fluid in the transmission and in the transfer case as well. And you guys will get to see old Dad help me out with that here in just a second. Dad, what do you think about that crazy contraption right there?
Works pretty good.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah, definitely easier than old traditional way.
So guys, right now what Dad's doing is he is pumping in transfer case fluid. For the transfer, we got a Atlas transfer case, 4-speed in this Jeep, and it's actually got a sight tube on the side of it. Once we get done here, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So basically what the instructions say, for this transfer case, you got to put 2.5 quarts in it. And once you've got 2.5 quarts in it, you got to mark the sight tube with a zip tie or a marker or something. so that way you can always keep an eye on it, how much fluid it's got in the case. And it's just a good method to use one of these pumps. It's just literally a weed killer pump from Home Depot, and keeps it off of you, and works pretty good. Alrighty guys, so we just got the Jeep fired up. We didn't want to run it long. We're going to have to get this thing way more in depth in tuning it and stuff, but we just don't have time for that. We've got to get this thing pulled back apart, and the team has already been on that. While it's being pulled apart, I've been working on several different things on this thing. Drive shaft loops, we've been working on brake lines, been working on just all kinds of craziness underneath this thing. Mr. Jesse's been helping me out as well. I'll show you guys that as well here in just a second. But we've been taking this thing down apart so I can put the final welds up underneath some things and really start just honing in on all the welding and stuff. So we'll walk back here, let you guys see what old Mr. Jesse is up to, and he can walk you through what all he's been doing. All right, Jesse, tell us what you've been up to, bro.
Going on, guys? Working like a dadgum borrowed mule.
I've been working pretty hard, not gonna lie.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's feeding me good.
That is true. We got some Fazoli's today. We've been drinking so much water. Oh my goodness, it's been so hot.
Yeah, it's been rough in Tennessee, which I enjoy it. I'm a summertime man. I take it as it comes. But yeah, anyways, been pulling the fuel lines, fuel tank, drain the tank so he can weld and all that jazz. So, gonna be ripping apart and getting ready, shining for powder coating here soon. So
that's right, guys.
Gonna be a show Jeep.
That's right, man. We're getting this thing put together. Mr. Jesse has been taping off all of our lines and stuff, and he's also been labeling these things so we know what to do when we go to put it all back together there. So that's a huge help. Right now we've left the fuel pump in it. We got a couple of tabs and brackets that we need to straighten up, and we need to final weld and all that stuff. Our stuff is just kind of hanging there right now. So let's walk through this thing and let you guys see what all has been happening since the last episode. So we've got the rear brakes on it, we've got the rear brake lines on it. All that stuff is looking killer and working really well. I've got the anti-roll on it, we've got the wishbone on it. We've got our exhaust done there, and our pipe hangers on it as well. You guys can see those right there. These pieces will be removed. You won't see those on there for the final deal. That's just kind of a spacer that we made so we could get the pipe hangers on it. We've also been working on the side steps. That's what mounts off of this right here.
They turned out wicked.
Yeah, they did. They turned out good. That is the front bumper right there, and these are the side steps right here. This muffler's right there, but they look really wicked though. That way, we wanted to show off this right here, how well the headers turned out and stuff, and how nice the exhaust is. It's got stainless mufflers and stainless tips and stuff on it, and it looks good. I think it's nice.
Late pops make a Jeep, in my opinion.
You got that right, and they are MagnaFlows. These are straight through 4-inch mufflers for anybody back at home is asking. And yes, MagnaFlow does make 4-inch straight through mufflers, so that's nice. So it's a 4-inch collector, 4-inch muffler, 4-inch tip. And it sounds quite nice. I thought it sounded pretty good, don't you, Jesse?
Yeah, sounds like a hot rod, man.
Yes, it does. Okay, so moving on from there, you guys will see this little nasty hanging down hose here. This is just a loop hose that I've made for the power steering pump when we went to start this bad boy up. So please don't think this is going to stay here. This was just for test firing purposes, so I could get it outside, start it up, and rock and roll there. We'll keep on moving here. Got the front drive shaft in just a little while ago. Got the bearing support in for it. Now we need to put the loops in. I got the loops bent up. You guys can see them in the floor. Here's one here, and I'm about to be putting these in. You can kind of see what this is going to look like right there. Yeah, something like that. So that's what we got going on. Alrighty guys, so this is some recap footage. I haven't had any time to do YouTube episodes at all here in the past, really and truly, the past 5 or 6 weeks. It's just been so hectic and so crazy, and orders and working on the Jeep and trying to get this thing done and trying to get it ready for powder coat. It's been kind of crazy. So what I thought I'd do is just kind of throw in some extra footage here of just, this is stuff that happened before we got it started, and I just didn't have time and have the ability to get this put on YouTube before we got it started. So this is the jig fixture we use to make the bumpers, the side step sliders. This is the side steps. I love those things. I think those things look really, really cool. And there's the rear bumper. I think all this stuff is really, really coming together very, very nicely. I really do wish I was able to do more detailed stuff with footage wise of this stuff, but you know, guys, when you're in a hurry, there's a lot of stuff going on. You can only do what you can only do. This is when me, Hannah, Jesse, the whole team was working on getting the GTO moved out of the way, getting the Jeep moved over to the lift area, and Miss Hannah was a huge, huge help with that. I definitely really, really appreciate her helping me out with that and getting the black truck moved. That's the truck I'm pointing at right here, and getting the Jeep moved over. And this was like a very, very slow process. And this literally took, we started on this at 9 p.m. at night, and we finally got everything moved and put back in some sort of organized look to the shop at 5 a.m. in the morning. It was really tough. It was a lot of work because you've got so many tools, you've got so much stuff you got to move and just make things happen. To continue on here, I've got old Dad over there helping us out, and we'll kind of let you guys see what all he's up to here in just a second. We have now moved the Jeep up front, up here. This is on the finishing side of the garage. Won't be long and we'll be starting this bad boy up. So what I'm doing and what is happening and what the team is working on, we've been working on the ride height of the suspension. I've been working on the final welds of the front end, getting the front end all welded up and stuff, getting ready to put the steering box and stuff back on. While that's going on, also double checking the fitment of the fenders around the shocks and stuff. We've got the shocks in a little bit different of a location, meaning the coilovers, so I may have a little bit of final fitment going on there. And then our catch can breather just came in for it. It's sitting right there. I need to mount it as well. So a lot of stuff going on. While I'm doing that, old Dad, he's been in here working on the door latch system and stuff of the Jeep. He just got this side done here. This mechanism had to unbolt from the chassis because of, if you see how this tab sticks out in the location of this lug, it will not let the chassis move back so you can pull it all apart. So that meant that this thing had to be removable, and Dad, he made all the brackets there, and you guys can kind of see how that deal unbolts on and off, and he's doing a killer job there. Once that stuff is set and put in place, I got to double check, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be putting door bars in this deal. That will be another step that will be coming maybe this week. I may not do that just yet because we're working in and out of the Jeep a lot, but door bar basically going to go from here down into here, and I think it's going to make it pretty easy to get in and out of the Jeep still. If it is, I'll go ahead and put it in. If not, I may wait until the very, very last step. But been working on that. I'm gonna step back here, let you guys kind of see this thing, how it's kind of turning out looking. It's pretty cool seeing it in a different spot. I'm very, very happy with it. You can see the exhaust a little bit better. I think all that stuff is going to look really, really awesome. So you guys can kind of see all that stuff going on. About to have the fenders on it, and we should be able to take us some really nice, cool looking pictures here in just in a minute. But we are rocking and rolling, guys. Alrighty guys, before we get out of the shop here, I got a few things I want to talk about, and some things have come to my attention that I want to address as well about the Jeep and what all has been going on in the shop. So I've been seeing some stuff on Facebook and on YouTube and messages and this, that, and the other of why was it
from like January up until just a few weeks ago that there wasn't many videos on the Jeep, that there wasn't much going on the Jeep and that sort of thing on what happened. And I wanted to remind the folks out there what was going on and the reason for what had happened. The owner of the Jeep had went through a very, very serious health problems, and it was pretty bad, okay? And you know, he made us aware of what was going on, and we had to put the Jeep on hold. They had to put the Jeep on hold. So when those things happen, me as a business owner, me as a shop owner, I have to work on other things, I have to do other stuff. And it really sucked. It sucked for the owner, it sucked for us, but you know, they're okay with us putting it to the side until we was able to do other things. You know, we tried to work on things when we could, and you know, and trying to keep things rolling and that sort of thing, but you have to keep the lights on. You know, you got to do what you have to do. So that being said, you know, here in the past few weeks, and especially in the past month, it has been really, really chaotic and hectic in the shop, okay? And the owner hollers at me, he's like, hey, you know, we're ready to go full send, and we want to get this thing 100% done. And when that happens, it's chaos. And it did happen, and it's chaos right now, as you guys can see. The Jeep is now running, and now it's time to tear this thing apart type deal and put the final touches on it. Another thing that got brought up, people's been asking, Houston, are you okay? Like, you look rough, what's going on, that sort of deal. I appreciate people asking and stuff, but what is going on when you work 2 jobs, work at a chemical plant, and I come home and work on this stuff, and you put in a crazy amount of hours, you start to look rough. That's just part of it. When you're, you know, really, really thrashing hard, and that's what we're doing right now on this thing, that's just what happens. So I appreciate people's concerns. I'm okay. It's just when I get tired, my hair looks rough, my face looks rough, and yeah, it's just rough. It's just part of it. But I do appreciate everyone checking in on me, making sure I'm okay. It's just a lot of work, guys, and we're just in one of those times right now where you have to thrash hard, you have to get stuff done, and I'm just not commenting much on Facebook, and I'm not going to. I don't have time, and I'm busy on this stuff. So what you guys will see, enough of all that stuff, what you guys will see coming here, once I've got the last welding done, the last little bit of things I've got to finish up, this thing will be sent off to powder coat, okay? There'll be a little bit of a pause on videos, okay, until I get this thing back. Once I get it back, we'll put the videos together, putting all the final touches on it and all that stuff. You guys get to see what color it is and all that stuff. So we're very, very excited. Again, thank you all so much for watching. That's it for us. You guys make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you go to the website. We got all kinds of high performance parts there. We got t-shirts there as well. You can see our newest Freedom shirts. And go and check those out and support GTO, support all of our builds that we got going on in the shop. But really appreciate it, guys. See y'all next time.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Don't forget to go over to KilmerSports.com, where we've got all kinds of merch over there and all kinds of high performance products as well. And definitely a big shout out to our sponsors and partners. Till next time, you guys have a good one.